I think it's a sign of a very well-handled show that it can actually do something you'd rather it didn't, but you still go, yeah, okay, that still works though. Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, Episodes 7? 7? Is that what we're at? I can't remember. So, two things I'm going to knock out for this review right off the bat. Something I have been meaning to say for a while. I really, really like the music, and here's the thing. It is largely repetition of the opening credits theme, but it is often tweaked in ways either slowed down or sped up or intensified in just the right ways and deployed at just the right moments. Like, they could really overdo it, and honestly, I have a hard time remembering the soundtrack when it's not bringing that up, but it picks just the right moments to give you those few notes that dun, 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 dun. Like, it's so well deployed. It's really, really good. And again, like, it is largely just that I'm catching, but they just the right moments. Perfect. And I've been meaning to say that for a bit. So let me actually address the opening thing that I said. This episode really kind of only does one thing that I was like, oh. But by the time the episode was over, I still went, okay, all right, though. So the moment that, like, made me go, it happens right at the beginning. So when Fisk and the doctor, and, like, look, I will fully grant the crap the doctor says about, it was an honor to, like, try and help her, or whatever the hell he says. Dude's got a weird bedside manner. Like, he's clearly trying so hard to ingratiate himself with Fisk. It's just coming off weird. And I don't mean in a bad writing way. In like a dude, like the character, he doesn't quite know how to navigate the situation. He's not handling it great. But when he offers a hug and Fisk takes it, there was a moment, it was brief, but there was a moment where I thought maybe they're actually going to have him sincerely accept the hug. And I actually, like, choked up a little bit at the idea of that. And then, of course, he starts crushing the guy. And I got a little bit disappointed because I'm like, yeah, okay, of course that's what he's going to do. Except that he doesn't, like, I was able to put it in better context by the end. He doesn't really do it out of anger. Because, like, part of my concern with what happened to Vanessa is they were going to do the standard thing that tends to happen with a fridged character. Although I don't think she actually counts as a fridged character, having thought about it more. I'll talk about that in a second. But, like, I thought they were still going to do the standard thing, which is that her dying just motivates... the importance of her dying is through the way in which it motivates specific actions out of a guy. I'm like, oh, great. And now he's going to be even more unhinged. They're going to treat it like she was some kind of stabilizing force when she totally wasn't. But that's not really what they do, because... yeah, he crushes this guy's spine and kills him, but there's nothing behind it. It feels like Fisk does it because he doesn't know what else to do. Like, he recognizes this is the thing he would do, and he can't think of a reason not to do it, so he just does it, but there's, like, nothing there. And just how blank he is, basically up until the end where he's fighting with Matt. And realizing that they are really treating this not as a motivator for him, but as a flat-out absence in his life. Like, they're properly addressing it. And in terms of my conclusion as to why I don't think what happened to Vanessa counts as a fridging is I think there is actually a major point that I didn't really bring up which is that her death is the consequences of her own actions. Like, while narratively... it doesn't appear to have gone this way, but while narratively it would have been possible for the thing to pan out so that her death was used to motivate the actions of Fisk within universe. And, like, first of all, as I said, didn't really do that anyway, but in universe, Fisk is not the concern. Bullseye goes after her because of what she did. And not, like, unknowingly. She's not an unwitting victim. She made choices that have consequences. And that's what results in her death. And I think she has too big a part to play in her own fate for it to really be considered fridging, which is nice. And, like, I was kind of on the side of, I don't think it is, but I'm pretty firmly coming down on it's not. I'm still going to miss her. Like, as a character, I still, like, would have liked more time of the two of them together as the crime lord power couple that they are. But if I'm not going to get that, I have to admit they are dealing with her exit and absence and treating it as a very potent absence in his life. They're treating it quite well as far as that goes. Jessica Jones finally back, and I immediately got slapped in the face with like, right, I didn't watch the 3rd season of that show, so I have no idea what the heck her current status quo is. Not a clue. I picked up from context a little bit that like she's got a kid and she's kind of hiding out in what looks like the suburbs. Like, I have no greater context for that whatsoever. I'm not going to go watch the 3rd season of that show to find out. I really didn't like the 2nd season, so no. I'm going to pass on that. But it was nice to have her back. I mean, she's just good in this part. The fight scene in the warehouse. Like, again, for some reason, the very first episode had like the worst edited fight scene, where it was too cut heavy and stuff. The fight scenes have been great since then, so I don't know what the hell. This is also true last season. The worst fight was like the first one in the season. I don't know what's going on with this show and then putting the worst action scenes front and center. I don't know. Anyways, the idea that her powers are kind of dipping in and out was actually pretty well handled, because she will just flatten guys otherwise, but then, she punches this guy and she's like, damn. I'm like, oh shit, okay. That's a concern, actually. I will be curious to see if they do more with her than just have her show up to be a wrecking ball. She is good for that, don't get me wrong. But I'm hoping we get a little bit more of her than that. But if that is it, it's not terrible. I would like more, but that's not too bad. I don't... She's too ridiculous for this show, but there's a part of me that's like, look, if you want us to have somebody just be brought in as a wrecking ball, you could have called Jennifer. You could have had it be She-Hulk. I kind of would have been really here for that. But fine, fair enough. Tonally, she might throw off the show. I don't know, though. They were really cute together. That's not to say that Jessica and Matt aren't good together. It's just, it's a different dynamic. They are good together. They were, when they had scenes together, they were one of the better things about the Defenders series, which they might be looking to revive that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I am enjoying this season of this show, but I'm trying to be careful about not letting it get me too excited for other things, just because I feel like I'm just setting myself up for heartbreak. But coming back to this. There was a moment where I found myself thinking, I'm wondering if they are kind of underutilizing Angela, because I kind of expected her to become more front and center. She kind of hasn't been. She's still been at the periphery, except that she's been a pretty constant presence at the periphery. And I finally remembered her dang name. See? It takes me like half a season, but I will learn characters' names eventually. But having her present for a lot of what's going on feels very informative for, what her character journey is. So I actually, depending on what they do or don't do with her down the line, this feels like really good foundational work on her as a character for that iteration of White Tiger. So yeah, the Danny and BB stuff, good. That's good stuff as well. The tension, like you can tell Danny does not want to have to do any of this. And you can tell, like, betraying Danny and, like, leaking stuff is tearing her up a bit, too. That's really solid. You know what was the scene I thought I was going to hate, but I didn't? Was when, oh, God, what's her name? Heather? The shrink? The one who was tormented by, oh, God, I can't even remember the artist serial killer's name from last season. Whatever the hell that dude's name was. The scene where Buck has her strangle him. That, the instant that started, I just was sort of just repeating to myself, oh God, don't do it. Because cinematic language, yes, she's choking him, but it's also a man and a woman about this close. What always happens in a show when there's a man and a woman about this close? I was waiting for it. I'm like, she's going to kiss him. And she didn't. Now, that's not me writing off the possibility that there will be some kind of sexual development or, misplaced or confused desire on one or either of their parts going forward. But just the fact that they didn't have it happen in that scene alone, that's huge. Like, you need to understand, on the podcast, Jesse and I are in the tail end, we're in the 4th season of Battlestar Galactica, and I'm so freaking fed up with if there is literally any chemistry or dynamic or interest, narrative interest between a man and a woman in any way, yeah, we're gonna have this be a sexual tension thing. And I've just, it's prominent in a lot of media, but it's so prominent in that show. The relief that flooded from me that she didn't kiss him. And again, I accept she might in future, but the fact that they let that moment just be tense and charged and uncomfortable and just let it sit there and had her leave and seem very kind of distressed by what looked like very conflicted emotions she had in that scene. Good. Because here's the thing. And I've been saying this in stuff like the Practice podcast. It's not that shows can't or should never, or it's impossible for them to tackle the ways in which trauma, sexual desire, and abuse dynamics can all get kind of tangled up in a character, or even a woman. It's not that they can't do that. It's that they almost never handle it well. It's almost never given care or weight. They just jumble all this stuff up and move forward, and it's almost always a disaster. And here, it feels like a moment that's yeah, no, this is kind of messed up, and she is not coping well, and she's gonna walk away right now because, no, we're not gonna just plow ahead to where this might go. We're gonna hit the pause and just let you sit with that moment for a bit. I'm that's giving it the weight that most things that try and tackle this stuff don't. What a relief. What a relief that was. We only get a little bit of Matthew Lillard in this, but I always smile when he shows up. Karen. They have some great stuff from her. I really love the moment where she tells Matt, I am haunted and traumatized by what I did to Wesley and the fact that I killed him. But I'm also not sorry and I don't regret it. Thank you. So much of our pop culture and our media and our entertainment has this idea that it's all one or the other. You either are torn up with guilt for what you did and you wish you hadn't done it, or you feel that you were justified in doing it, in which case, if you have guilt, you get over it and you move forward. No. She doesn't regret what she did, but she's still traumatized by it. That, thank you. And watching her confront Matt with the fact that I told you not to kill Fisk, and maybe I was wrong because this isn't gonna end. And seeing that build to the confrontation between Matt and Fisk is really interesting, especially because Matt starts out that fight just dodging, just not fighting back. But then eventually he does, because I think they both know, we don't know what else to do. Neither of us knows how to stop caring and doing what we do, and we can't just ignore each other. If we both exist, this is what is always going to happen, so long as we exist in the same space, which is why Matt proposes we both leave New York, but also neither of them is really capable of that either. So what could have felt like a moment of, and here's the inevitable fight scene that was always going to happen, there is much more of a sense of actual fate. And I don't mean fate in the sense of destiny. I mean, these two people cannot stop themselves from being who they are, and being who they are will always bring them to this point over and over again. And neither one really knows how to bring it to an end. It just feels so much better constructed, and it feels like it is taking into consideration stuff that so many other shows just kind of take as read. And just But yeah, this is just how it goes, right? And this is actually making a point of earning and justifying stuff that most shows just do. And it's just so much more considered as an overall piece. The whole thing with the one guy in the AVTF who like helped out Matt briefly and he's now killed, like that, I'm not gonna say that was a nothing of a plot point. Like they use him dying as a justification to ramp up the intensity of pushing back the protesters and also take him out. But also that just felt like that wasn't much of anything. I don't know. I actually did really like the projections on the building, you know, with especially with Soledad. She has a great intensity to her in the delivery of that stuff. And you can definitely see that it would heavily rile people up. Yeah, this is really, really well put together. And even despite like little tiny moments where in the moment I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But then I think about it, I'm like, no, that does work. I'm just so relieved. I think that might be the best word. I really do enjoy this show, but more than anything, there has been a part of me, as much as I've been enjoying it, there has been a part of me that has been quietly waiting for it to drop the ball and for it to screw up. And that part of me is not gone because we've had shows that were good until the literal last episode, Moon Knight. But while I will not be able to fully relax until the season's over, it is being really consistent in how well it is structured, how well it is paced, how well it is justifying the directions that it takes, many of which are directions that aren't like big surprises and are kind of what you expect, but it's not just going like, yeah, we know how this goes, right? It's like, no, here's why we're doing this. And I just appreciate the work that has been put into this. Like the effort into the writing is so evident in this in a way that it often isn't in a lot of our entertainment in general, and frequently has not been in Marvel stuff for a hot minute now. But yeah, this is good. Daredevil, episode 7, I think, most recent episode, whatever that was. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills and enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe. Those will help. Don't worry too much about it, though. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Jared Boyce, Zubin Lafula, Auntie Kate 808, Mara G, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, Oliver B, Mystic Shadow, Sean Miller, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Melissa Pedersen, Becky Sparks, Twilord, Tracy Scrabbit, Pal Barabajoggle, Magdalena, Sir Didymus is my favorite. And to thank some supporters from the lower tiers, thank you to Wordmaker, Lucy Llewellyn, and Beginner's Mind Podcast. And if you want to hear me say your name as well, you can check out the rewards on the Patreon, and there's other stuff besides, and it'll help keep these absurd creatures fed.